All right, what we're going to do now is show you a technique where you can try and self-tape your plantar fascia. Now, this is not the most ideal scenario for your plantar fascia, but at least it is some degree of support you can do. For example, if you have a big overseas trip coming up, or you're doing a lot of walking, and your physio is not traveling with you, maybe next time take your physio. That'd be great. Okay, so we've pre-cut some rock tape, 3 strips. What you'll notice here is we've rounded the edges off. All right, from here, we're going to rip off the tape. That's a beautiful thing about rock tape, is you can rip off part of it and it doesn't affect the tape. You are then going to have your foot rested on a stool or an ottoman or something in the form, the edge of the bed, depending on where you are. Now, normally we want the foot to be quite flexible, and so you can mold it and you can lift the arch up. In this case, we're trying to offload, as I said, the fascia, so really hide its attachment point. You want to place down that anchor. There should be no stretch on it at that point. Pull off from the tape. Now, what you'll notice here is I'm going to now roll back. So I leave about a 5 centimeter bit where I can now play with. From here, pull out at about an 80% stretch. So play around, that's 100% stretch, back it off just a little bit. You're going to be coming up under the arch with a bit of a lift. With your other hand, if you feel comfortable, you can give the foot a little bit of an arch lift. Then let the tape go where it wants to roll. It'll come around the back of the ankle and it'll join back where it started, okay? We've got 3 of those strips. Now, if your first strip wasn't close enough to the attachment, make sure the next strip comes a little bit higher. If it's the perfect position, just overlap by 50%, same thing. No surprises, pull back, 80% lift, follow where the tape wants to follow. Now, what you'll notice, there's a big difference between this tape and the tape we did before where the therapist is applying the low dye version. And that's because we put you in a much different position and we basically give you a whole new shoe on your foot with tape. We can't do that when you're doing this yourself and you're traveling, but this, combined with wearing good footwear, doing your physio-prescribed exercises, and as well as monitoring walking and all the other things you are doing for it, is what we need to do. Okay, I've got my baseline down. I now have my rigid tape, because ultimately we need at least a little bit of rigid to offer some support. Pre-rip about 10, 15 centimeters, thereabouts. You're now going to come from under the arch of the foot, and here again we're going to do that bit of an arch lift and lying down. Depending on how irritable that foot is, will depend upon how many of these strips you need to do. In this situation, I'm just going to do 2 just to demonstrate. Now, what you will notice is not one bit of that rigid tape has touched my skin. This is also to ensure that you don't have any allergic reactions to the tape while you're away doing this yourself. Stand up. You should feel that arch lift that comes in here and the offload from the fascia side. Have fun with it.